Hello, hello, my magical friends. Welcome to another Witchful Ways podcast episode. I am Annika, offering you the insight, guidance, tools, courses, and an amazing membership to allow you to live a magical life every single day. So we are in 2022. Can you believe it? It seems so crazy to me to think that from like what is still 10 years ago in my head is more like 30 years ago in my head now. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess, right? So today I want to talk about why clearing out clutter can open your intuition. Now, when we start out on a new year, a calendar year, a lot of people will set new resolutions, right? And one of those resolutions may be to clean up and organize. That tends to be a big one, I think. But I want to talk a little bit more on why keeping things clean and organized and clutter-free actually helps your intuition to open up. And that means more connection and better connection to the messages, signs, and information that's coming through to you from your spirit team and your higher self. So let's say that you come home from work, right? And you come into your house and you take your jacket off and you begin to walk down your hallway. And as you walk down past the kitchen sink is dripping. And your mind says, oh yeah, I've got to fix that kitchen sink drip. I forgot, right? I've got to keep that in mind. And then as you walk down the hallway, you notice that there's a broken picture frame hanging. One of your picture frames is broken. So you go, oh yeah, I've got to look at this picture frame is broken, right? Like that needs to be fixed as well, or I need to replace it. And I got to remember about that kitchen sink because you can still hear it. Then you walk further down into your bedroom and you've got paint swatches, right? You're deciding what paint you're going to paint it. And it's been, a week or two since you put the swatches up to make the decision. And your mind is automatically taken there going, oh, I got to make that decision, right? So now you've got a bombardment of at least those three things, along with all the other things that we were even put into our actual conscious awareness as we walked into and through our house. What that does is that pulls on your energetic body. Your energetic body wants things to be in their place, wants things to be organized. Okay, because, and they don't necessarily, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. They don't necessarily have to be, you don't have to be a clean freak and you don't have to be an organization wizard, right? To still have an open intuition. But what happens is when your energetic body is pulled in all those different ways, it takes away from being the open conduit because your focus, your energetic body's, your subconscious mind's focus is in all those other little things that you have to deal with. And that brings down the avenue, right? The neck of the bottle gets smaller and smaller for the amount of focus and open flow that you have available strictly for just pure intuitive flow to come through to you. So when we're working, and especially in the area that like I do my readings in, or that I'm teaching, that I record the courses, or whatever in, I make sure that area that I am being creative in, maybe that I'm doing my magical workings in, I make sure that those areas are actually cleaned, cleansed, right? Two different things, cleaned, cleansed, and are clutter-free. And again, that doesn't mean that I don't have stuff shoved in every little corner that I can shove stuff in, especially when it comes to like decks, right? My card decks, I've got them all over the place, but they are in one place, right? They're organized to be in that place. You don't have to worry about them scattered throughout the house or all over the room. You know where to go to. Same thing when it comes to any of my magical tools, right? I keep them in one place. I keep them underneath my working altar so that I know that this is the place that I need to go to. So keeping that area clean allows the creative flow to happen without interruption. So hopefully that makes sense, because it can be a huge obstacle to overcome when you are trying to open your intuition, connect with your guides, and you're sitting in all this clutter, because I'm sure that when you are sitting in a room that's cluttered or messy, if you go to somebody else's house, right, and it's just kind of everything's haphazard all over the place, and it just feels chaotic. The energy in the room just feels chaotic. Nothing's settled into where it's supposed to be. And that creeps into our energy field as well, or our energy reacts to, right? Our energetic body is what reacts to everything. Our energetic body reacts to the energy of the room, which is chaotic. So therefore now our energetic body goes, okay, we're in chaotic mode here. We're not exactly sure what we're going to do. And now all of a sudden you've got, squirrel brain, where you can't focus on any one thing, or things seem cloudy or foggy. And all of those things are going to impede your intuitive flow to your guides and spirit team. So this is why removing the clutter, or at least putting things into an organized mess, is something that will really improve your intuitive conductibility. And something so simple can have huge impacts. And then you sit there and you go, well, I should have done that years ago, right? Because I could have look at all this time now that I could have been getting these messages and could have been feeling so much more at peace and ease. Because when our energetic body, when our mind, when our everything feels more in the flow or in resonation with ease and peace, then everything else can fall into place, because you're not worried about the dripping faucet and the broken picture frame and having to make the decisions, right? It's getting all those thoughts out of our mind. Now, how do we do that? So in my Discover Your Intuition course, we deep dive into things like this on how do we do these things in our mundane lives or mundane actions that are going to allow us to open up our intuition so much more. And this is one of the things, is clearing out the clutter. And I know sometimes that can be difficult, because some of the things that we have a sentimental attachment to it. So we have to work through those things. But what's nice about that is oftentimes a lot of the clutter, the things that we're holding on to, really we're holding on to for reasons other than we want to hold on to this because this was my mom's favorite figurine, right? And she's no longer here. There's a deeper seated aspect to that, which you're able to dive into, and we do dive into in that course and class. But so here's one way that you can go through and you can kind of, again, organize your things, get rid of the things that aren't serving any purpose. If you haven't used it in a year, you probably really don't need it, right? Unless it's something that you only use, every couple years or something. But your old wedding dress, right? Like, we understand as women, we like to hold on to our wedding dress as a tradition, if you follow that, as a tradition, because your daughter may want to wear it, or your granddaughter may want to wear it, or you may want to cut it up and use it to make clothes for grandkids, or, whatever it is. Use it for luck talismans and mojo bags and witch ladders and all that good stuff, right? So are you holding on to it because you're going to do those things? And if you're planned on using it to do those things, but you haven't done them yet, are you really planning on doing that? Are you ever going to wear it again? Right? Like, so all these different things that you need to go through and go, okay, why do I have this sentimental attachment to it? And I'm not saying throw everything out. If your wedding dress means that much to you, then put it back from where it came, right? From where you were storing it. But going through all the items in your home, and start in one room and go to the next room and to the next room, going through with items this way, you will be amazed at what you realize that you're holding on to just for some frivolous little, kind of thing. Now, I have to share that I have the very first Christmas presents that my children had picked out for me by themselves. Back in the day, because they're, mid 20s now, but when they were in elementary school, Christmas was still a thing, and they had pick a present day where you could send a small amount of money with your child if you wanted them to go shopping, right, at the Christmas store, so that their teachers and the other adults there could help them pick out Christmas presents for their parents and siblings. And, it was like maybe 50 cents to $1 for the items. So I still have those very first things that they picked out for me, because I thought, this is their mind in the first grade, right, of gifting, of what does it mean? What did they feel like when they picked this thing out, going, oh my gosh, mom's going to love this, right? So I still have those two things. Those two things are probably something that, even though that's a huge sentimental value to me, it has value to nobody else. They're probably worth $0.25 a piece, right? But those are things that I'm going to keep because they bring me utter happiness to think of them in that moment, right? So when it comes across things like that, keep those things. Keep them tucked away. Keep the things that are very, very meaningful to you. But there's going to be other things, again, that you hold on to, that you come across and you go, you know what, this meant something at the time, but me holding on to it doesn't bring me total happiness, right? So maybe there's stuff that you can donate, or you can give to people less fortunate, or, whatever the case may be, that cleans out the clutter in your house. You're doing two things then, right? You're physically cleaning out your house. You're hopefully helping other people if you're donating things, but you're also cleaning the energy of your house, which interacts and reacts with your personal energetic body. So less clutter in the house is going to be less clutter in your energetic body that has to focus on. Because even the stuff that's tucked way away, everything has energy, right? You've imprinted it. It's there in your house for some reason. So it's going through and processing those things, because again, the less we have that's pulling on our energetic body, the easier it is for our intuition to open up when we want to connect with our spirit team and receive messages and insight and guidance, because we can focus there. There's more energy to be focused there. Kind of like trying to multitask, right? You're the only one left in the office for the day, where there's normally 6 other employees that work with you. And now you've got to do it all. You're not going to be able to give your attention to any one area because you've got so much of your energy spread out. But when you bring it back in, you can focus, right? So that is my invitation to opening your intuition by removing clutter. And like I said, I think you would be amazed to realize how much of a difference that this can do. So really quick, the other thing that I want to talk about is a way that you can get your energetic body, your mind, right, to be a little bit more focused, even when you have all kinds of stuff. And I call it the big list. And this is going through your house. So do this at the same time that you're decluttering. Go through and write down all the things that need to be fixed. Whether that is paint chipping, or a broken frame, or a dripping faucet, or, whatever it is, go through and write those down. Physically write them down on paper as a to-do list. Because what this does is it takes it out of astral. We've talked about this before. It takes that out of astral, where your subconscious mind has to go, I have to keep track of all of this, right? And your subconscious mind is entwined with your energetic body. So you go, I've got to keep track of this because it's not written down anywhere. So I've got to make sure that I remember about the dripping faucet. I've got to make sure I remember about the frame. I've got to make sure that I remember that I have to fix that, piece of wood that's chipped in the doorway. I've got to make sure that I change the lock on the bathroom door because it jiggles and we lost the key, or, whatever it is. All these different things you have to keep track of on your subconscious. That bogs it down. But when you take it out of astral, you take it out of that mind, that subconscious mind, and you put it on paper, your energetic body, because your subconscious mind goes, I don't have to worry about that anymore. She's got it. Like, she wrote it down. It's good. I don't have to keep track of that anymore. So now that's opened up to allow you to give more energy and focus to something else. So I call it the big list. Then what you do with that list, because some of us are going to end up with a bigger list than others, right? But then what you do with that list is you go through and you choose and say, okay, I'm going to work 15 minutes once a day, once a week, once a month, whatever it is. I'm going to work 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is, right? Go 15 minutes or 30 minutes. And then figure out how often you're going to do it. And that's when I'm going to work on something on this list. And start with the things that you can complete in that amount of time. Or at least that you can diagnose in that amount of time. So, okay, I've got a dripping faucet. Let me go and see what the problem is. And if it takes longer than your 15 or 30 minutes, or you have to go get parts or whatever, then you write that down on the list again so that you can come back to it the next time that you have designated for your big list time. You'd be amazed at how much you get done. You'd be amazed at how much easier things seem to appear to get fixed and fall into where they should be. And again, it's going to open up so much open flow space for universe to connect with you and your spirit team to connect with you. So I suggest and invite you to do both of those. Make sure that you let me know if you do them and how it worked out for you and what you think about the process overall. Because again, I think it's going to be amazing. You can leave a comment if you're listening to this podcast online. You can leave a comment. If you're listening to it on YouTube, you can leave a comment there. If you're in the Witchful Ways Facebook group, Witchful Ways for Manifesting Facebook group, you can go ahead and leave a comment there. You can email me directly. You can head over to the website and make sure that you get your free cleansing guide that gives you that one big secret that you have to do to make sure that your space stays in high vibe state. Witchfulways.com. Have a wonderfully magical rest of your day.